Hi Stampers! It's Robyn here from Robyn's Roost. Today I am in my stamp room, kind of sort of on lockdown, I guess. Here in Minnesota, we're having some really bad air quality from the fires in Canada. Um, and I try to stay out of bad air. I have some lung issues, so darn, I have to stay in my stamp room, right? But actually, other than the air being a little smoky and hazy, it's kind of nice outside, so I wouldn't mind being out working in my garden today. But anyhow, I wanted to share with you a technique that I I did for a challenge, is how it started, and it's stamping on patterned paper. So, you have this pretty patterned paper, and it's usually two-sided, right? At least the Stampin' Up! Stuff is. Sometimes you get a piece that, yeah, it's kind of blah, right? You just don't care for either side. I'm not sure why, but it seems like I either love both sides and can't decide which side I want to use, or I'm kind of like, that piece, right? So this is something to do with those pieces that you're not quite as in love with. And it's also a great way to change the theme of a paper, right? Say you have you want birthday cakes or something, and you don't have one with birthday cakes on it. You can stamp birthday cakes on, kind of a subtle background and make it match what your card is themed for. So let's flip the camera and I'll show you some cards, and I am using the Sea Turtle stamp set for the ones I'm doing today, of the Retired Fancy Flora and a gorgeous grape card base. Just a typical 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. So what we're going to do, we're going to stamp on this designer series paper. Now, it's beautiful paper on its own to use for background, but this is a simple way to change up your designer paper. Maybe you have a pattern that is like too bland, or it doesn't fit what you want it. So we're going to be using the Sea Turtle today on a couple of cards, and then I'll show you a couple other ones. It's a simple technique of stamping on your pattern paper. Okay, and we are going to cut this down after we're done. So we're just going to make a family of sea turtles here. And this is the largest sea turtle in this set. So this is not a time-consuming, or what would be the word for it? It's not a hard technique, right? Super simple. Do a little bit of stamping, and then we're going to, this is a 6x6 paper. So now we're going to decide which part of the paper we actually want to use after we've stamped. So I think I'm going to cut a little bit off the top. So you can see this is not rocket science by any means. I want this piece to be 4 inches by 5.25. So we're going to take a little bit off the top. And actually, I want to leave his whole flipper in there. So I'm going to end up, let's go to 5.5. And then we'll take the other part, the other 1/4 inch off the bottom. And now you can perhaps use these little strips on the inside of your card, or you might just throw them away. It just kind of depends on how it all ends up, right? So that's my up and down cut. Now I think I want this guy. And you can see this is just kind of there's no right or wrong about how to do this. And we want this to end up to be 4 inches when we're done. So you can always kind of lay your trimmer closed, and you can kind of see, let me pull this down here. You can kind of see what you're going to see on your card, right? So we've got it cut down to our size we want on our card. And like I said, this is a very simple card. Now, if you wanted to, you could mat it, cut this down another 1/4 inch so that it's 3 3/4 by 5 instead of the 4 by 5 1/4. And then you could put a layer of maybe black or something behind it if you wanted it to be a little bit more stepped up. And I am using, let me see, which stamp set have I got here? This is a greeting from the very best occasions, which is kind of all occasion stamp set. Whew, having a hard time coming out with something today. And then, of course, you're going to decide where you want to put your thinking of you, which is what I have on this card. Now, I didn't leave myself a nice space for my greeting. So what I probably will do is find a piece of, let's see, none of this paper is calm enough. Well, maybe this piece would be. Let's see how this works. This may not work. We'll see. So you can always take a piece of white paper, of course, too. That was crooked. But it's really not going to matter because we're going to actually fussy cut around this. And like I said, this may or may not work. This is kind of just a quick, on the fly. I have not made 3 of these cards so that I have it all perfect for you. So we can put this here, up in the corner. And if we wanted, we could actually layer this on a piece of Gorgeous Grape. I think I like that idea. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so I've got a scrap of my Gorgeous Grape, which matches our background paper and our ink. And I'm just going to adhere this to here. Now you could also die cut this with like an oval die or a punch, but I am just going to give it a little edge so it stands out a little bit more from our card. And all you need is a scissors, right? This card doesn't require a whole bunch of tools if you're a new stamper and haven't gathered up a whole stash of stuff yet. So see, that'll just make it pop a little bit more. I'm going to close this before I put my elbow or knees or, oh gosh, fingers in it. And then we can either adhere this directly with our adhesive, or grab a couple of dimensionals. And these are the mini ones. They come in 2 sizes, mini and regular. And we'll just put this up here. And now to finish this off, I would put a piece of white, probably 3 3/4 by 5 on the inside, and then probably cut strips of my leftovers and add top and bottom. So I'll just put that off to the side. And now I have another piece of some older retired paper. Now this one is from a long time ago. I have no idea how long ago, but I think it was called Tea Room. So it had things like butterflies and spoons. Actually, I used like a couple patterns and then had other ones that, like, this one just wasn't me. So let's see what we can do with this one. With our same sea turtle. So I've got the big sea turtle. Just cleaned him off, and I'm using the Old Olive on this one because we've got the yellow, and I didn't think that the Gorgeous Grape probably wouldn't look that great on this yellow. And I'm not sure the size of this. This is just a scrap that I grabbed. So again, we're just going to do a, what is a group of sea turtles called? I don't know, a family of sea turtles, but I'm sure they have a name, you know, like a pod or something. So there are our sea turtles. Oh, and I forgot to grab a card base. Let me go grab a card base. Oh, and of course I did not have one all prepped and ready that was in the garden green. Or I'm sorry, old olive. So let's just go ahead and cut this to size. And we need it scored at 4 1/4, and let's get our cutting blade out of the way. There we go. Give it a quick score to make it go flat. And let's see what we have here. Okay, it looks like this is cut to 4 inches. Do we want our top guy? As you can see, there's no pre-planning on this. You know, if you really wanted to think it out, you could plan where you put your turtles before you put them on. I really want this guy's head too. So let's leave his head. So we want to cut this to 5 1/4, right? Because we have a 4 inch by 5 1/4, kind of a standard layering size. And again, this is a very simple card. I'm not doing lots of matting or layers or doodads or gems. Just making some quick thinking of you cards. Okay, now this one, I think we can probably put the thinking of you directly on, but I'm going to pull in some black because I think it will show up better with the tuxedo black ink. And let's see if I can get it straight, or we'll be cutting this one out too. I think I have my stamp not mounted exactly straight. So here is this one. Again, I would put in a white white layer and probably pull in my little extra piece of paper there just to kind of carry the theme onto the inside. So these are some quick and cute cards that you can make by stamping right on some designer series paper. You do usually have to use kind of a mild or subtle pattern paper. This one is maybe, you know, a little bit more on the wild side with those little checkers. And if you wanted to see, here's the sea turtle stamp set that we're using, and it's got some smaller turtles. This set is also designed so that you can flip the photopolymer image over and stamp the back side to fill it in, so you don't have to color everything. And then let me just grab the greeting came from the Very Best Occasions stamp set, which, as you can see, it's kind of a does have some seasonal stuff. It has a couple of Christmas, thinking of you, sending smiles, love and comfort, kind of a sympathy card, right? Endlessly grateful for a thank you. So just kind of an all-around good greeting set. And then let me pull in, let's see, I've got a couple more cards I can show you. This is another one using the fabulous floral paper, and I did this one with the Pretty Peacock color, which is one of the returning colors that came out this year. And that one is mounted on a So Saffron card base, which actually retired as well. And then here is actually the card that started all this. I did this card for a challenge on one of my blog posts, and the challenge was to stamp on designer series paper. So this one is the Hey Chuck stamp set, and I just stamped the fence and his skateboard and the greeting right directly on the paper. and then added some die cuts that are colored, or at least the screaming rooster is colored. So hope you enjoy this technique and have a lot of fun with it. Reach out to me if you have any questions. And if you need any supplies, hop on over to my store. Hope you have a great day and have some fun stamping.